In this video, I'll address the difficulties that can come in regards to what can be a very tricky situation around parenting when one marries a Filipina with a child who comes to live with you in your country. Be sure that the dynamics of the relationship will certainly change when you add a child or children into the mix. And this can become even more difficult if the man has children of his own from a previous relationship that either live with him full-time or stay with him on weekends and school holidays. Not only do we have a mix of cultures coming together with your new wife and child trying to adapt to a whole new way of living in a new country, everyone involved needs to find their own place within the new family, and often everyone involved can be very uncertain, and sometimes even outside influences can cause issues within your new relationship. Quite often for those men who still have their children stay over weekends and school holidays, communication on a regular basis will still need to occur between the man and his ex-partner. For some exes, they may become jealous that the man now has a much younger and beautiful woman who she may fear the children will like more, or she may be worried that the Filipina will become a co-parent of her children. This is a legitimate concern for her and something that really needs to be addressed so the roles are defined and understood from the very start. And to add to this, discussions around what role the man will play in the Filipina's child's life is also very important to work out early on. The big question here is, should the man who now has his new wife and child living full-time with him become a father to the child, which also includes disciplining the child at times? I believe the two situations here are different between the man's child or children in his country, where clearly his ex and the child's mother is still present in their lives, and the second situation outlined where the new wife has come from the Philippines to live with a man in a foreign country and also brings her child, where clearly the child's biological father is no longer present. Certainly the man will need to bond with the child over time, as their relationship may be very new and they need to get used to each other. And forcing this to happen in a short time is not going to work. And like any relationship, it will need to develop naturally over time. One must put themselves in the position of a child coming to a new country and living with a man that she doesn't really know. And be sure that if one forces authority over the child too soon, then the child is most likely to either withdraw into themselves and say very little, or they may rebel against you. Rest assured that either is going to cause you many problems moving forward that can certainly impact your new marriage. You need to gain the respect of the child before you can expect the child will listen to you and be guided by you. After all, you're really just a stranger to her, maybe someone she has met in the Philippines just a few times. But now the child is in a totally different world that they feel rather uneasy in. And if you start barking out orders to the child straight away because you think you're head of the house and the child should be respectful to you straight away, then you're just going to cause unnecessary issues. Make no mistake that the mother's child should be the one initially to administer any type of discipline to the child. And if you notice the child misbehaving, then you should talk to your wife, who will then have a chat to the child about the behaviour and then administer any punishment seen fit. Over time, and as the child gets to know you more, you'll naturally start taking on more of a father role, where you'll offer advice and guidance to the child, and in time you'll be able to chastise the child and issue punishment where appropriate. For those of you who are thinking of bringing a Filipina and her child to live with you, don't underestimate the importance of doing this the correct way. I see too many guys who just think the child should automatically respect him and everything he stands for. But think about it. Would you respect someone that you didn't know very well just because they demanded that you do so? Yeah, I think not. So don't place those unfair expectations upon a child, which is really unfair. When my wife first came to live with me, my daughter from a previous marriage would come and stay on weekends. And the relationship I wanted for my wife and daughter was more of a friendship rather than a stepmother-daughter relationship. And that was because my daughter already had a mother in her life and she didn't need a second one, as that would only cause confusion and issues, making things very complicated when they really didn't need to be. And also because I didn't want to place any unfair expectations on my new wife to have to be a mother to a child that she's only just met. Because certainly that would only put considerable strain and worry on her, which isn't needed when trying to adapt to a whole new way of life in a foreign country. After my wife arrived here, it took around 3 years to be able to apply for a child visa and bring my wife's daughter to Australia. It was agreed upon before she arrived that my wife would be the one to discipline her daughter and I would take my time to get to know her and form a relationship with her. I never pushed anything, and as time went by I offered guidance, and eventually over a couple of years the relationship developed where I thought of her as my daughter and she thought of me as her father. It was at that time I was able to step up and become a father role to her in all senses, including chastising her and handing out punishment when needed. And because she sees me as her father and respects my role, there are no issues around this and it works very well as a family. So my advice for those who marry a Filipina and bring her child to live with you is simply don't rush things and do it the right way. Allow your relationship with the child to develop and gain trust and respect, and in time you'll be very glad you did. For more information and tips around relationships with Filipinas, be sure to click on the playlist on screen now. Thanks for watching, stay safe and take care.